The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
The month of February is all about Valentine's Day. Big heart-shaped boxes filled with delicious candy. What if we, the Patriots, hijacked Valentine's Day and instead made it about human liberty and individual empowerment? I'm all about human potential. I'm all about the individual being empowered. The establishment is the opposite. That's why they spike our water with fluoride and GMO, estrogen mimickers, and the rest of the garbage. InfoWars is striking back in the month of February with Human Empowerment Month. How we can come together and win the human race. And to celebrate the kickoff of Human Empowerment Month, we're slashing prices on InfoWarsLife.com products like Super Male and Super Female Vitality. The sale is only running for the month, 20% off, and there's a lot of other powerful specials at InfoWarsLife.com. InfoWarsLife.com, celebrating human potential in the month of February. Visit InfoWarsLife.com to find this special and many others in the month of February. Again, InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139.
The government's Department of Homeland Security is buying up loads of ammo. At the same time, they're restricting civilians' rights to own and purchase firearms. Can you put two and two together? Infidel Body Armor can stop every round, including hollow points and .308 sniper rounds, is reasonably priced and fully legal. But for how long? Go to InfidelBodyArmor.com, spelled INFIDEL bodyarmor.com. Infidel Body Armor just won't quit.
When cells become toxic, they die early and aging sets in. No one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. Just one of the key compounds, BioPQQ, is backed by major clinical studies. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? We now have the synergistic solution. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Used since before the days of the Roman Empire to support the body's natural systems and enhance overall health. Introducing the new InfoWarsLife.com oil of oregano formulation, a highly advanced nutraceutical form of this key herb that has been traditionally used by civilizations for thousands of years to promote health. We have now procured the most high quality and potent forms of oregano oil on the market, sourced from top leading manufacturers to ensure a concentrated level of bioactive ingredients. Extracted directly from the wild herb and sealed in easy-to-use capsules, you will no longer need to endure the burning of liquid oregano on the tongue. Wild crafted from the Mediterranean oregano species that experts agree is one of the most powerful and most challenging to acquire. This winter season, it's more important than ever to secure this true form of oil of oregano. Now available in our limited first run at InfoWarsLife.com. That's InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
Will you fight? Against that? No! We will run! And we will live. Aye. Fight and you may die. Run and you'll live. At least a while. And dying in your beds many years from now. Would you be willing to trade all the days from this day to that for one chance? Just one chance to come back here and tell our enemies that they may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Rallying patriots worldwide in defense of human liberty. It's Alex Jones.
Waging war on corruption, crashing the lies, and disinformation. You know, perhaps I should put on airs like other talk show hosts and broadcasts like this, with this voice for the balance of the hour. Let's go back to Thurman in Florida, in FEMA Region 4. Thurman, thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. So from 2006 to 2009, we watched our income go down in the landscape business. And like I said, we were being undercut by a lot of immigrant labor that was coming in. Okay.
Illegal alien. So, listen, use the term, because if they can get people to not use the proper term, that's what they call illegal aliens in Mexico is illegal aliens. That's a term used for hundreds of years. It means an alien of the state. We call things from other planets aliens because that's the term. We need to use the proper term and not let them bully us into using their politically correct terms. But go ahead and finish. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. That's okay. All right. So anyway, I started working at a local elementary school, and it was an affluent school, I'll say. That was for 3.5 years. And then I transferred over to a high poverty, what we called 95% free and reduced lunch school. I was a general music teacher, which meant that I saw every child in that school. And that was right at about 1,000 kids. I went in, first of all, I was a little bitter, because the illegal aliens had come in. I felt like we had been undercut. I was seeing it happen. I was in the office on several times helping out during registration, and I would, see the family filling out the paperwork for the free and reduced lunch, and they would set their brand new iPhone down, to be able to fill out the paperwork, and that didn't quite add up to me. But here's where things started changing. Once I got in there, and also I worked as an interpreter within the school system too because I speak Spanish, so I saw, that side of it, the families being deported and the horrible things that happened there. But to get to where things changed was this high poverty school that I spent the last 2 years at before I got out of public ed was broken down like this. And first of all, let me say that I used to teach my students, we are Americans. We don't, I don't see black Americans. I don't see white Americans. I see
But
Americans.
let's just say it. It's just like a prison. I'm guessing on what you're going to say. Everyone was put into their own prison quadrant. The poor white kids, the poor black kids, the poor Hispanic kids.
Something like that. But more to the point was this. It broke down evenly along these lines. 1/5 of the students were Asian because I'm near a very large military base where quite a few were lifted over after Vietnam. All right. 1/5 were white kids. 1/5 were black kids. 1/5 were Hispanic kids. And then the other 1/5 would be the mixed race children. Okay. All right. By far and large, hands down, the best students, the best manners, the hardest workers, the ones who did their homework, the ones who tried, who were well-dressed, taken care of, were the Hispanic kids. And what I ended up concluding and kind of changing my own frame and way of looking at it was that that is the people that have been here in the United States.
We are degenerate, spoiled, rotten pigs and are collapsing. And so there's a little bit of old world conservatism left in Latin America, as hellish as it is. So imagine when we fall, how bad it's going to be.
That's a good point. But to me, the thing that was the most impactful as far as what I saw was that I've even told people I think that those kids are the last hope for our country because they still have that American dream. They still work hard. Now, that having been said, I also believe that we need to shut those borders down yesterday.
Well, nobody else does this, and absolutely. The problem is the Democratic Party is there to take these immigrants who on average would be good for the country and to turn them into voters who will make everybody slaves. I mean, these illegals vote when they end up becoming citizens or vote. They've got the polls and right at 90%, the most hardcore. Look at California. I mean, they're taking all the freedom in California. And so here's the question. How do we reach out? Because here's the thing. 50%, I saw this like in USA Today last year, but I already seen the demographics. Below the age of 12, on average in the country, half the country is Hispanic. In many areas, the country's already like 60-70% Hispanic. It's a joke. It's Hispanic American citizens that are paying in these areas the majority for all the illegals. So it's a total screw job. And again, I don't blame the illegals wanting all this stuff, but because Latin America is in a long, protracted depression. Mexico is a descending hell pit. And it's a beautiful place on the Pacific and the Caribbean side. I wish Mexico was like super nice, and I wish Africa was. I mean, I'd probably move there. I want countries to run to. I'm sick of it. I've said I'll stay in America, but I don't know, man. It's just that they're taking these people and just turning them into the political army to vote us into total slaves. And that's what makes me sick. I appreciate your call. See, I said I'd give each caller 1 minute. These callers are all great. I'm giving them each like 10 minutes. Rick in Texas, go ahead.
Yes, I'm a first-time caller. I listened for many, many years. I've been awake for 30-plus years.
Well, thanks for putting up with me, brother.
I'm glad to. I attribute being awake to having been through Bible college and seminary, where I had such an avid interest in Bible prophecy that I taught for many, many years. So I've got 2 points that I'd like to make if I can. First is to call attention to an article in WND. It was called Prayers to God in the Wrong Spot. This is probably one of the most significant articles of our times, literally.
Prayers to God in the Wrong Spot, WND.com. We'll look it up.
Yep, it was there a couple days ago. And the author is, he travels the world solving biblical mysteries. So he's hunted the Noah's Ark, the Ark of the Covenant, and then took on the issue of where is the exact site of the Jewish temple. And his conclusion was that the exact site of the temple was not on the Temple Mount, but about 600 feet south, which is in the city of David, which Israel actually owns, and part of it is a park. And that would resolve an enormous number of problems, because for most of us that know the Scriptures well in that way, there are a number of textual things that present enormous problems, much less just the geopolitical.
Sure, and of course they built a mosque on top of where they think, I think the first temple was. Correct me if I'm wrong from my history. And so there's big fights whenever the Jews want to tear that down and build their temple back. It creates incredible division.
Yes, and there's been a group called the Temple Mount Faithful that has actually rebuilt all of the implements for the temple. They've had the cornerstone for many, many years. They bring it out each year as the reminder of what it is that's to come, because they believe that's part of the end times. So I would recommend that people really look at this article. I mean, when I read this article, I was absolutely astounded after having been a theologian for a long, long time. I think it's just an absolute head turner, because that would allow for the rebuilding of the temple, and without any question at all. And it would take and change the whole geopolitical construction in the Middle East. So that's number one. Number two, I was a clinical psychologist for a long, long time. And I've observed a process through the years. When I first started teaching prophecy, because the events were so far out, people would would have a great interest in it, but it was far removed. So especially when you get into things like we were trying to teach about the Federal Reserve, we actually had booklets. And
Sure. Or people would deny it because the media said it didn't exist. I found now that it's pretty much admitted. People don't go, oh, you were right. Wow, you're really smart. I better listen to you. They say, oh, so what? Just accept it. I mean, not everybody, but people that were already not listening, they will then just say, oh, so what now that all this is in our face? But get into your story. What did you see happen?
I see a process is the issue that I'd like to talk to for a moment, if I may. The process is that as time has progressed, I moved to teaching where I wasn't just teaching prophecy and the original languages and all the things that you would normally do. I started to teach along the lines of this is that, because years ago, if we saw one thing a year that was really had prophetic significance, I mean, we were jumping up and down. I mean, we had to subscribe to the London Times, and we had to literally get the old papers.
Oh yeah, I mean, it'd be a big deal 15 years ago to have some CEO admit soon everybody will have brain chips, and now it's just in the newspaper 50 times a day.
Exactly. But in the process, as the veil is being lifted on all these events, and people become more sophisticated about the religious, economic, military, and political aspects of current events, things happen within the individual that actually is listening and absorbing that. And a part of that is it's kind of like the loss of a child. When you lose a child, it's devastating. And part of that devastation is related to the fact that you're not just losing the child, you're losing all the dreams of and for that child. Well, all of us have those dreams for our future. And so when the realities of what we thought our future were going to be are changed and challenged in any significant way, that actually enters us into a grieving process. And so